1 year after he watched an armed mob storm the Capitol, The Daily Show's Jordan Klepper returned to D.C., and while the scene was different, the misinformation was the same. Here's what happened when he attended a so-called vigil for jailed insurrectionists.
What would you call the events of January 6th?
A wonderful, glorious event.
People were excited that day.
January 6th was the greatest day of my entire life.
Okay. You're obviously not a police officer.
There was no insurrection that day. If there was any intention on our part, we would have been actually freaking armed.
If there was intention, people would come with
We would have been.
with zip ties or bear spray or a pitchfork.
Belt feds.
What about the people who did come with zip ties, bear spray, and pitchforks?
Well, those weren't arms. Those were just minimal defensive measures.
Who is the candlelight vigil for?
All of the patriots.
All of the 140 patriots, the police officers who were injured that day.
Yeah.
So it's for the police officers.
No, it's not for that. Well, this is for the patriots that are in prison.
The people arrested for injuring the police officers that day.
It was some people standing up to say, stop the steal.
We're here at the site of where the January 6th protesters are being detained. This is a vigil for them. Their rights have been taken away.
So criminal justice is obviously a big issue for you.
I'm interested in protecting everyone's rights.
Are you going to Rikers Island to protest the 15 people who died last year?
I am not.
Joining us now is the great Jordan Klepper, a contributor for The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, which airs weeknights at 11 p.m. on Comedy Central. Jordan, I'm going to start calling this effect that you give me a Klepper because my head hurts every time I watch one of your segments. But, lay this out for us. I mean, it looks like you got an earful. Does anything surprise you when you talk to these folks?
Well, again, I think at this one in particular, you could hear the rewriting and the scribbling of history everywhere you went that day. And so when I went to that rally, I think I've always known that the narrative has been shifting. I think this seemed to be a new stunt in that narrative, as opposed to confronting this idea of what happened on that day. Many people were putting focus on the folks who were arrested on that day, and it became more of a prison rights conversation, which seemed to be an odd conversation coming from a group that seemed to have no interest in that kind of reform before then. I will say the one that stood out to me was this idea that the arms that were there weren't arms to attack, they were defensive measures,
right,
which is a difficult case to make when somebody shows up with a noose. It's not the most defensive of armaments.
No. And I also appreciate it when you say, oh, you're here for the police officers who were hurt that day, and the guy sort of does a double take, and he has to think about what you just said. You also had a run-in with Congressman Matt Gaetz, the Republican from Florida, and for those who didn't see it, let's show them what happened.
Hey, Matt Gaetz, if you're going to reenact the events of January 6th, who is going to take a in the rotunda, and also who's going to make the gallows? Isn't this a little bit childish, Matt, or is that what attracts you to this?
It's a choice comment there. I can't understand why he didn't stop to talk to you, Jordan.
I'm shocked. The guy usually likes cameras, and in fact, I was catching up to him after a stunt he pulled just outside of the Capitol. And usually he wants those cameras around. You'd expect there to be some follow-up questions. Sadly, he didn't get a chance to hear all my other thoughtful, well-researched inquiries. But he was more interested in talking about the CIA and the FBI and the issues they had with January 6th. But I don't know, I think if the world has any justice, perhaps Matt Gaetz will get his one-on-one time with the FBI sometime soon.
Yeah, that day may come, no question about it. And the political rhetoric, as you know, it's out of control these days. I have to play this other exchange you had in which you challenge a man on the way he chooses to, let's say, voice his discontent with Joe Biden. This is how people are describing it these days. It's not terribly poetic, but let's watch.
I'll try to get across to people in the world, man. I watch CNN, I watch Fox News every day, Chris Tucker, Hannity.
You watch Chris Tucker? I love that guy.
I watch all of you guys. It's like
Money Talks.
Yeah.
Rush Hour.
I wear their shirt that says F Biden. I say F Joe Biden. I respect our president.
It's important to have respect for the office of the president.
Exactly.
And at the same time, wear a shirt that says Biden.
I mean, for me, yes.
Do you understand the inherent contradiction in that?
Yes, I do. I do.
I mean, did you actually get through to this guy, or you know, he's just a guy in an F. Biden T-shirt?
Well, I mean, I think what is interesting about that conversation is we're reaching a new frontier in some sense. There is inherent irony in a lot of the conversations we have. I think what was fascinating here was he understood that contradiction. He was well aware of the contradiction. He talked about not wanting to do this in front of his children. His children were there. He was very well aware of it. So there's not a moment where I'm trying to get through to him or able to get through to him. He's already gotten through to himself. And so I think the larger question that puts us into a place where if we're aware of our inherent contradictions, then what are the values that we hold? And at that point, it's just all politics, and that becomes abundantly clear.
Yeah. And he was wearing Patriots attire, which, you know, things have been a little rough for those folks lately. But in the last couple of
He's had a tough time. It's been a tough year.
Maybe that's why he's got the shirt. Who knows? But in the last couple of weeks, people have been reflecting on the one-year anniversary of the January 6th attack. I know you were there that day. And just so folks understand, you were literally talking to a man with a pitchfork. Let's watch.
We are gonna clean this place out one way or another. You look down there. I have 1 million plus people angry. Very, very angry people.
Can I ask why you're carrying a pitchfork?
Well, a pitchfork is it's just an iconic representation of what people over time have done in this country.
It feels more like a weapon, to be quite honest.
No, it's not. It's farm equipment, and it's legal in this city.
Yeah, are you farming today?
I would not call that farming. You know, you said recently that laughter should not hide the danger and the urgency of what we're going through right now. Why do you present, I guess, this alternate reality the way you do? What motivates you to go out there to do it? I know that you're there for laughs, and it's some of this is funny, obviously. A lot of it is funny, I should say. But there's a purpose behind it.
Well, I do think there's lunacy out there, and what I saw on the 6th was tragic, and it was also absurd, and so we don't shy away from either one of them. I think laughter cuts to the quick in many ways. Humor is the fastest way to the truth, as the great George Sonder has once said. And so I do think comedy often has a place in this conversation. It cuts through some of the BS, and I have the luxury of being a comedian who shows up and can ask the questions that are on my mind and try to find some of that absurdity. But it doesn't hide the fact, and it shouldn't hide the fact, that the things that happened on a day like January 6th are terrifying. They're dangerous, and sometimes it feels like laughter is the last repose of people who are scared. But at least it's an action that you can take that shows camaraderie, because if you're laughing at something and laughing with somebody else, you're on the same page about something. And so I do think, in looking back at those days, I don't want to obfuscate the terror there. And I think there's a lot that needs to happen, a lot that's broken in this country. But hopefully if we can laugh at the absurdity, we can take action to try to better the things that we saw go wrong.
No question about it, and it's just revealing everything. I mean, it's just putting a giant, searchlight on the truth, and sometimes that truth is absurd, and you've captured it perfectly. Jordan Klepper, thanks as always for being with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for the service that you do. Next time you're in Washington, give us a holler.